Hi everyone, welcome back to the Palette of the Past. In today's episode, we're exploring the story of Evil Queen Athaliah from the Bible. If you enjoy this video, give it a like and consider subscribing for more interesting stories. Athaliah was a significant figure in ancient Judean history, known for her controversial reign as Queen of Judah. The story of Athaliah can be found primarily in the Old Testament, particularly in the books of 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles. Athaliah, the daughter of Ahab and Jezebel, rose to power after her parents' tragic deaths. Ahab died in battle against the Syrians, while Jezebel met her demise by being thrown out of a window. Athaliah, whose name signifies being afflicted by God, ascended to the throne of Judah. She ruled in Judah around 841 to 835 BC. She defiled the house of God and became the sole queen to occupy David's throne in biblical history. Athaliah's reign indeed represents a dark chapter in Judean history, marked by political turmoil, violence, and religious deviation. Her quest for power and promotion of idolatry brought great suffering to the people of Judah and led them away from their faith in Yahweh. Athaliah married Jehoram, who was the son of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah. The marriage between Athaliah and Jehoram was a political alliance between the royal families of Israel and Judah. It was not uncommon for royal marriages to be arranged as a means of forming alliances and strengthening political ties between kingdoms. In this case, the marriage likely served to solidify a bond between the two kingdoms, despite their historical differences and occasional conflicts. 2 Kings chapter 8, verse 18. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, as the house of Ahab had done, for the daughter of Ahab was his wife. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. This verse describes Jehoram, the king of Judah, and his actions during his reign. It states that Jehoram followed the ways of the kings of Israel, particularly the practices of the house of Ahab. Ahab was known for his wickedness and idolatry, as well as his alliance with foreign powers, particularly his marriage to Jezebel, who promoted the worship of Baal. Jehoram's marriage to Athaliah, the daughter of Ahab, not only solidified a connection between the royal families of Israel and Judah, but also introduced the influence of Ahab's house into Judah's leadership. Athaliah's background and the practices associated with her family, including idol worship and corruption, likely had a significant impact on Jehoram's reign and decision-making. The verse concludes by stating that Jehoram did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. This indicates that Jehoram's actions, influenced by his marriage to Athaliah and his alignment with the practices of the house of Ahab, were contrary to the will of God as understood by the standards of the Israelite faith. It suggests that Jehoram's reign was characterized by disobedience to God's commandments and moral decay, leading to spiritual and moral decline within the kingdom of Judah. After her husband, King Jehoram, died, Athaliah wanted to stay in power. When her son Ahaziah became the king of Judah, she acted as the de facto ruler of Judah. As the queen mother, Athaliah held a lot of power and could make important decisions. She used her position to make sure she stayed in control and could do what she wanted in the kingdom. This time in Judah was marked by Athaliah's efforts to keep her power strong and her influence over the kingdom intact. After becoming king, Ahaziah aligned himself with King Joram of Israel, who was his uncle through his mother Athaliah. Together they engaged in a military campaign against Hazael, the king of Aram. During the battle, Ahaziah was wounded by Jehu, a commander in the Israelite army, who had been anointed by the prophet Elisha to become the next king of Israel. Ahaziah fled to Megiddo to seek medical attention. However, he eventually died from his wounds in Megiddo. Ahaziah's death marked the end of his brief reign as king of Judah and paved the way for the ascension of his mother Athaliah to power, as she sought to maintain control over the kingdom after his demise. 2 Kings chapter 11, verses 1 to 3. Now when Athaliah the mother of Ahaziah saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the royal family. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash the son of Ahaziah and stole him away from among the king's sons who were being put to death, and she put him and his nurse in a bedroom. Thus they hid him from Athaliah, so that he was not put to death. And he remained with her 6 years, hidden in the house of the Lord, while Athaliah reigned over the land. This passage illustrates Athaliah's ruthless ambition to secure power for herself. After Ahaziah's death, she moved quickly to eliminate any potential threats to her reign by ordering the execution of all the royal heirs, including her own grandchildren. But Ahaziah's sister, Jehosheba, saved one of the grandsons, Joash, and kept him safe. Joash stayed hidden for 6 years while Athaliah ruled the land. Athaliah's reign was a dark period in Judean history, characterized by political intrigue, bloodshed, moral corruption, and religious apostasy. Her rise to power was marked by ruthless actions to eliminate any potential threats to her rule. She ordered the execution of all potential heirs to the throne, including her own grandchildren, in a bid to consolidate her power. This act of violence and disregard for the lives of her own family members underscored the extent of her tyranny. Athaliah promoted the worship of Baal and other foreign gods throughout Judah. Baal worship involved rituals and practices that were contrary to the teachings of Yahweh, the God of Israel. Athaliah's promotion of idolatry corrupted the religious practices of Judah. The worship of Baal and other foreign deities involved rituals that often included sacrifices, ceremonies, and rites that were not in alignment with the laws and commandments of Yahweh. This departure from authentic worship led to spiritual decay and moral decline within the kingdom. Athaliah's support for idolatry also reflected the influence of foreign cultures and ideologies within Judah. Baal worship was often associated with neighboring nations and their religious traditions, highlighting Athaliah's willingness to adopt and promote practices that were contrary to the unique identity and beliefs of Judah as a nation chosen by Yahweh. Athaliah's reign ended dramatically when her grandson Joash, the son of Ahaziah, was rescued and hidden by his aunt Jehosheba. Joash remained concealed for some time, safe from Athaliah's grasp. After 6 years of hiding Joash, Jehoiada, the high priest of Judah who had been preserving Joash, orchestrated a plan to reveal him to the people and to crown him as the rightful king of Judah. Jehoiada gathered the captains of hundreds, the Levites, and the heads of the families of Israel to the temple of Jerusalem. There he made a covenant with them and showed them Joash, the son of Ahaziah. 2 Kings chapter 11, verses 12-14. Then he brought out the king's son and put the crown on him and gave him the testimony. And they made him king and anointed him. And they clapped their hands and said, "Long live the king." When Athaliah heard the noise of the guard and of the people, she came to the people in the temple of the Lord. When she looked, there was the king standing by the pillar, as was the custom, and the leaders and the trumpeters were by the king. All the people of the land rejoiced and blew trumpets. Athaliah tore her clothes and cried out, "Treason! Treason!" Thus, a coronation ceremony was held, and Joash was anointed and crowned as the king of Judah. The people rejoiced and proclaimed, "Long live the king!" Athaliah, upon hearing the commotion, came to the temple and witnessed the coronation. She tore her clothes in dismay, realizing that her reign was over. Subsequently, Jehoiada ordered Athaliah's execution, thus putting an end to her tyrannical rule. 2 Kings chapter 11, verse 16. So they seized her as she reached the place where the horses enter the palace grounds, and there she was put to death. This verse depicts the moment when Athaliah was seized and subsequently executed. With Joash crowned as king, the legitimate line of kingship was restored in Judah, and Athaliah's usurpation was brought to an end. This marked a significant turning point in the history of Judah, restoring rightful governance and bringing stability to the kingdom. Athaliah's downfall signifies a pivotal moment in Judah's history. Her removal from power allowed for the restoration of true worship and the purging of foreign influences from the kingdom. It marked a return to the foundational principles of faith and righteousness that defined Judean identity. So, friends, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Also, feel free to share your feedback or criticism in the comments below.